My job is all about purpose.
Just the ability to make a difference, to help someone be able to go home at the end of the day.
My great-grandfather started the volunteer fire department in Springfield, Nebraska. My grandmother was a nurse. My uncle was a fire chief in Atlanta, Georgia. So somewhere down the line, it was my purpose to be doing this.
Yeah, we're a family here.
The data we get from Rapid SOS is life-saving.
Have you ever met a 911 professional and asked, what's the worst call you've ever taken? Well, here's your answer. I heard your last breath the night you flipped your four-wheeler. I tried to call you the day you committed suicide by driving your car into a tree. Blue face, cold to the touch. I helped you with CPR after you found your infant face down, not breathing. It messed me up. I did everything I could, but it wasn't enough. You were with me from the beginning, Grandma. 27 years later, I took the 911 call when you died. How fitting to be there for me in the beginning, and I was there for you in the end. I miss you, Grandma. I am 911. This is but a glimpse into the world of emergency dispatch. But what is it really like to answer a call during someone's nightmare? What is the impact of the first responder answering the call? Available on Amazon or where you purchase your favorite books and ebooks. Imagine listening. Your worst day is our everyday.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
Thank you for your service, for inspiring me each and every single day, and for reminding all of us that heroes wear headsets and carry phones because they save lives. I am proud to stand with you in Congress, and I am proud to advocate for the 911 Saves Act, and I am proud to represent the heroes of America's 911 system. This award is not just for me, it's a celebration for all of us. Thank you for keeping our community safe, and thank you for letting me continue this journey with you to ensure that every American has access to the best 911 services in the world, because that's what you do.
Welcome to Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them.
Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is going to be episode 644 of Within the Trenches, True Stories from the 911 Dispatchers Who Live Them. This episode is sponsored by Rapid SOS, Safer Together, the leading AI company in public safety. Shout out to subscribers as always, and all of you who watch, support, listen, and share. Thank you so very much for everything. It is March 10th, 2026. It's Mario Day. Yeah, it's Mario Day. And if you don't know that, it is because the abbreviation for March is like MAR and then 10 Mario Day. Ta-da! Yeah, if you didn't know, now you know. Excuse me. So this episode that's going out today, I've been traveling and I've been working on all kinds of projects. So I am putting out this episode, and I have a second episode back to back coming up. So you've got tons of content coming up for this week, and I'm excited. So I'm jumping in here really quick because there are, I guess, kind of two parts to this episode. You're going to hear, maybe I'll take out the other intro because there are a couple things that I wanted to talk about here right off the bat in the beginning, and then the audio piece is just audio because it's an episode that I recorded at the 911 Goes to Washington conference a couple of weeks ago. It was supposed to go out that week, but there were so many meetings and so many things going on at that conference. It's hard to do a lot of different things or even extra things when you're out there at that conference, because again, there's just a lot going on. So if you don't know, NENA, the National Emergency Number Association, they have a conference annually in February that is called 911 Goes to Washington. And all types of people, all folks go, dispatchers, supervisors, deputy directors, directors, they all go there, as well as some industry partners. They go and they discuss a lot of the topics that are going on in the 911 profession, but also if there's any legislation going out there. So, the 911 Saves Act was a big one that we talked about. And what happens is a lot of folks will, for their state reps alone, they will call and they will um, set up meetings, Hill visits, to go to the Hill and speak with their reps. Sometimes it's staff members too, who are just as important, because they want to know about this information so that they can give it to your state rep. And then it's something they can bring to the floor to be talked about, maybe passed. Again, 911 Saves Act. Now it is I believe it is the Enhancing First Response Act, which the 911 Saves Act is within that, and that's for reclassification. That is for 911 dispatchers from the clerical class to the protective class, because whether you know it or not, 911 professionals are not considered first responders or within that protective class. They are seen through the Office of Management and Budget as clerical workers, which, don't get me wrong, okay? Don't get it twisted. There is nothing wrong with clerical workers or anything like that. It's when you think about what a 911 professional does, it's nothing close to what executive like admin and clerical workers do. It's completely different. So that's why we've been trying for this reclassification. And once it goes through, finally, right off the bat in the beginning, it'll be a recognition, right? It'll be that 911 professionals are now added in there with police, fire, EMS, lifeguards. I think waste management is in there as well. And just so everyone in that protective class. Eventually, there will be, different funding and all kinds of other things that can get added at the federal level. So that's why this is so important. It gets the ball rolling for all of those things in the future. So that's what everyone does there. They end up setting up these Hill visits. They go and they talk, and they have these talking points, get this information out, so that for especially this Enhancing First Response Act, it has passed the Senate. Okay. It was voted, it passed the Senate, but now it has to pass the House. So that's why, we go out there and we ask for everyone's help. Like, reach out to your reps and, tell them, like, let's push this, let's get this out there. I mean, it doesn't cost anything. It is a bipartisan effort. And we're really hoping that when it hits the House floor, that it'll pass as well. And then shortly after that, it'll be put into law. And 911 professionals will then be reclassified as first responders within that protective class. So that's something that we've been fighting for a while now. And I want to show you a couple clips here. Again, before we get into the audio piece of this actual episode, my guest, I will say right off the bat, my guest is James, good friend of mine, and James Lockerbie. He is out of New Jersey and has been in public safety for, I think, over 2 decades. He's been, I think he says in the episode, it's like 30 years, because the math tells me I've been in this 30 years or something like that. So he ends up saying it, but he has been involved with a lot of different things having to do with reclassification, but also with the conference. So I had him on to talk about it. And, but what I wanted to share here really quick is that in the beginning of the conference, we have, an opening ceremony, then we have some keynote speakers, we have some panels, a lot of different things that go on in this specific ballroom. And the video that I'm going to show you here is just it shows you what it looked like in that ballroom. As I was walking in, I was stuck in traffic, and it was only 10 minutes away from where I was at. And a 10-minute walk and about a 5-minute drive, 3 to 5 minutes. But with the traffic that was going on during that time, it was a little bit later. So I ended up walking in while things were well underway. But there's a part at the end where my good friend Roxy Van Gundy, who is the first vice president of NENA, was on stage talking. And it's just a few seconds that she's talking, but those few seconds are powerful. But what I need to give for context is what she's talking about is she's saying that basically no matter what, because this is the part that I didn't get. I hit record as because I was so into what she was saying. I wasn't thinking about recording it until the last part. But what she's saying is like, no matter where you're at, anywhere where you come from, and then she starts naming off like little different things. She's like, your voice belongs here. And that was just so powerful. And I'm glad that I got to capture at least that little bit. So I want to show that here to you really quick. Of course, for those who are listening to the audio only, you won't be able to see it, but you will be able to hear it at least. And I just explained what it was that we were going to be looking at. So there's that as well. So let me throw this up here so that you can check it out.
Your elected representatives about the importance of passing this legislation, which places zero financial burden.
A rural county, a tribal nation, the private sector, or a non-traditional PSAP, your voice belongs here.
There it is. Like I said, it's very short there at the end, but still impactful and powerful because Roxy comes from a small rural PSAP. She's out of Lyon County that's located in Emporia, Kansas. And I've been there before, and I taught out there, and it's an amazing place. It's beautiful out there, but definitely smaller and rural. So she knows that because she comes from where she comes from, that even though there are all of these dispatch centers out there, some of them they're way bigger, have much more money than others, that centers like her might be small, but they are mighty. And they can do a lot of things that the bigger centers can do, and sometimes more because they have more flexibility. So I love that she was up there, that she was talking in that sense and really putting it out there, kind of a beacon of not just accomplishment, but also hope and everything for those smaller agencies to say, hey, yeah, we might be smaller, but we are mighty, and we can kick your ass. So thank you, Roxy. Thank you for just being an amazing representative and being up there. It was an honor to sit there and listen to you speak and represent all of us. So thank you. And if any of you are going to be at the 2026 National NENA Conference in Columbus, Ohio, if I have this correct, I believe that is where she will be sworn in as Madam President of NENA. And I cannot wait to be there to support and cheer and all of it. So thank you for just being an awesome representative of this profession. Also, we had Congresswoman Norma Torres, who came in. Now, James and I kind of joke about it a little bit in the audio, but it's true. Like, we saw her come in. Okay, we saw her come in with an entourage, and she goes up. She's introduced. She goes up. She says her speech. She gets an award as well, and then says thank you, and then like that, she's gone. Every rep who was there they were in and out. It was fast. And I say this too because that day just happened to be the day that everyone was preparing for the State of the Union, or so too, as they were telling us. Some people might say so too, and we're like, what? It's like SOTU. They're like State of the Union. Like, oh, okay, my bad. But dude, after a certain time, roads were getting shut down. I mean, the group that I was with, we saw the motorcades for the president and the vice president, which was one of the coolest things, just to see them going by and thinking, like, they're in there right now. And don't hit me with any political bullshit. I don't care what side you're on, who you like or who you don't like. All I'm saying is the position of the president and vice president in general, just to be in an area where they're going, no matter who it is, like that's pretty cool. Like that was a moment of like, oh man, like I actually got to see that. That's not an experience that a lot of people get to experience. So again, I don't care what side you're on. I'm just talking about the positions that some of these people hold. I mean, even with just, senators and congressmen, congresswomen, women and all of that, to me, it's just the respect of the position that they hold itself. That's it. Like to me, it was a cool moment just to be in the area where all of this is going on and thinking, man, yeah, this is pretty cool. Because again, not a lot of people get to experience that. So what I want to play here really quick is a short clip of Congresswoman Norma Torres when she's on the stage. Now, if you don't know a lot of her background, she's out of California. She is a former 911 professional as well. And I think she works 17 or 18 years at LAPD. And, she's got a story as well. I've had her on numerous podcasts as well as live broadcasts that I've done. And also she was a keynote speaker for for one of my Dare to Be Great virtual events. So I want to play this here really quick, and then we will go from there. Let me just add this up here on the screen. All right, here we go.
Thank you for your service, for inspiring me each and every single day, and for reminding all of us that heroes wear headsets and carry phones because they save lives. I am proud to stand with you in Congress, and I am proud to advocate for the 911 Safe Act, and I am proud to represent the heroes of America's 911 system. This award is not just for me, it's a celebration for all of us. Thank you for keeping our community safe, and thank you for letting me continue this journey with you to ensure that every American has access to the best 911 services in the world, because that's what you do. Thank you so much for listening.
There you have it. Very cool moment. And as she's walking down and she's, shaking hands, kissing babies. I'm just playing. There's no babies there, but shaking hands, giving hugs and everything to those who were there. And just everyone in the audience standing up, standing ovation, just so much respect for her and all. And what she's been trying her best to do for all of us as well. That fast, she was gone. She just like vanished. It was like in the 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie when the bad guys, they've got the little ball and throw it down and the smoke goes and it's like ninja vanish and they're all gone. It wasn't that fast, but they whisked her away. She was gone. But again, it's because they had to I'm sure it's because they were preparing for the State of the Union address, and it was just nuts there that evening. I mean, so much stuff going on, but again, it was an excellent experience. So with that said, that is just the beginning here, and we are now going to go into the audio portion of the episode. And again, this is James Lockerbie and I. We were sitting over by just right in the area of registration for the conference, in the conference hotel there at the Ritz-Carlton in Pentagon City. And we were close to the elevators, so you might be able to hear the elevators a little bit, maybe not, but either way, the rest of this episode and into the conclusion, is going to be the audio piece with James and I. So I hope you enjoy. If you ever, have any questions or anything about 911 Goes to Washington, definitely send NENA your messages or get a hold of James, or you can shoot me a message as well if you go to linkswith2eyes.co/IM911, and you can shoot an email to me from there. But without further ado, here is the rest of episode 644 that really highlights 911 Goes to Washington. Enjoy. Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is Within the Trenches, True Stories for the 911 Dispatchers Who Live Them. This episode is sponsored by Rapid SOS, Safer Together, the leading AI company in public safety, and I'm excited to be here with all of you. We are currently recording live at the Ritz-Carlton in Pentagon City. Yes, that's right. It says right here on the bottom. That's funny. I'm glad I saw it too. Pentagon City, because we are out here for 911 Goes to Washington that NENA puts on every year. And I'm sitting here with my good bud, James. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
How has this been already for you? And actually, before we get to that, for those who are listening and everything right now, just a quick overview of your 911 experience.
All right. Well, I started when I was 20. I'm now 50. So math says I've been doing it for 30 years.
30 years, man.
And I come from an agency that does all three disciplines, police, fire, EMS. We consolidated it. I work for the town that I live in. And we have taken over a couple of the smaller communities that surround us.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we are out here for this 911 Goes to Washington conference. Again, NENA puts this on every year. Now, for you and for those who are listening, what's something that you would want other 911 professionals or even the general public to know what it is, like the reason that we are out here and what is going on? Why is this important?
We're going to go over to the Hill to talk about the issues that are important to us and advance pieces of legislations that have been designed by the sponsors to improve our industry and to recognize us as a protective service occupation instead of the current classification that we've been under, the secretarial, which, as many of you in the audience know, that is certainly not what we do. We are not secretaries. I think over the last 5 years that I've been attending this is my 5th year. Mm-hmm. That message has been received, and that's encouraging. And I think like your program, your project, I Am 911, it's kind of like we were a baby in the corner. And after a lot of people got involved with that project, we're not going to be put back in the corner. And we're here, we're coming out. It was announced this week that this is like the biggest attendance in the history of the conference. And it seems to be on a trend to keep growing, which I hope that's the case, because we've been given the permission to speak out and advocate about ourselves, because nobody else was doing it before. Mm-hmm. I mean, with the exception of the individuals that used to come here prior to 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
Like there were people who have been doing it at a smaller pace, but since we brought up this topic of reclassification, it's caught a lot of individuals' attention, and it motivated and lit a passion in many, including myself, which is why I've made it a point to attend.
Dude, and the stuff that you've done as well, I have to give you your flowers, because so there's been a lot of stuff going on, but you're coming out with big ass signs and like all kinds of things. I think you even had a sign that with like an easel, and like there were a few different things that you had, which was
my
awesome.
My sign is just a 911 say exactly across the top with a console and the 3 field responders vehicles. Yeah, an ambulance, a fire truck, and a patrol car. And what I'm saying is that our console is our emergency vehicle. Mm-hmm. We put the calls out to them. They use their emergency response vehicle to go to the scene. Well, our emergency response vehicle brings the scene to us. Mm-hmm. And we then relay the information that we gather from our callers and put that out to the field units for them to go to the scene. And of course, while they're en route, we're providing help already. And in many cases, dispatchers from across this country have assisted people in medical emergencies, fires even, teaching them to stay calm and get out of the building, or if they can't, the ways of protecting themselves and shelter in place until fire can get there. Again, assisting with CPR, CPR, and bringing back a pulse before the first field responder arrives at the door. But then they, of course, continue care on the way to the hospital, or pick up, or if the person is still in trouble, they take over from the layperson, and they're able to provide that care and transport them, and hopefully have a positive outcome.
See, and that's what I love, that especially the explanation and everything that goes into it. Also, you were in a parade. So for those who are all listening right now, so if you didn't know, a lot of you who are in public safety, you do know this, but for the general public who listens to this show, the very first 911 call that was placed was on February 16th, 1968, in a small town in Alabama, small but mighty, Haleyville, Alabama. And every year in June, right?
Yes,
like
the first weekend of June.
Yeah, the first weekend of June, they have a 911 festival. This is no lie. This is like a huge deal. This festival, they have tons of people that come up from all over the place. They have concerts, they have vendors, like they have all types of things. And it was the 50th, right? The 50th anniversary was it that you were out?
I was
or which
there
one was
like the 53rd, I believe.
Okay, so
yeah, I wanted to go to the 50th.
That one was a big one. Yeah, so around the 53rd or so, James was out there, and he had the opportunity to not only have those signs on, I think you had like a Jeep Renegade, one of the ones that looked like a pickup truck.
So I flew into Memphis, Tennessee, and drove down, and by chance, the rental agency that I use happened to give me the manager special that day, which was the Jeep Renegade or something along that line. Yeah. And I was talking to a gentleman who was my contact in Haleyville, and I was talking about, I want to be in the parade. I want to make a float. And I was thinking about getting like a trailer, maybe borrowing someone's pickup truck and then putting a trailer and making some sort of console. And I could sit at the console and be like, driven in the parade by me sitting in the console.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and he's like, dude, you got like 4 hours, Saturday morning. Like, how are we going to do that? And I was like, yeah, you're right. That's not going to happen. So I got like a 2-hour drive to get from the airport down to Haleyville. Yeah. And then it just, you're driving on a float, dude. You're driving in a float. And I had passed like the town before Haleyville. There was two gentlemen that run a sign shop. They make professional signs, and they wrap big rigs, and they make advertisements. So I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go there. So I pull in, I talk to them. They were very helpful. They helped me with the sign. They actually helped me build the holder for it out of PCP pipe. There was like an Ace Hardware behind them. So they went in,
they hooked you up.
Yeah, I paid for the material, but they did the cuts and the measurements. They built me a stand, and they helped me design the sign, the one I described earlier. Yeah, and we put that in the back of the pickup portion of the Jeep, and I was the grand marshal of the public safety section of the parade, and it is, like you said, it's a big deal. It's like any town festival. Where I'm from, we have a seafood festival because we're on the Jersey Shore every April, but their regional celebration, their point of celebration, is the fact that they were the home of the first 911 call, and so they had a concert, which the cover band for Journey was the number one act, and let me tell you, I am an 80s kid, so I was loving it. I was rocking it.
You were all about it.
Man. Yeah, I was all about it. And then, like I said, the next day, Saturday is the parade, and we drove through town, and I was leading the parade with my sign on the back. It was awesome.
Dang, representing for 911. That's got to be one of the coolest moments. And so I have to ask, how did it feel? I mean, I'm sure like the pride was just like, you were just beaming.
Humbling, like I'm doing this for all of the 911 community, and just hoping that we can move the mark on the 911 saves. So I was going through the RPO program.
Yeah.
And that's a 12-month service project.
Yeah.
And I was working on trying to get the 911 Saves Act passed through Congress. But there's many of us that have been working at the lower levels of government to be recognized.
Right.
Because you can only be reclassified at the federal level. Mm-hmm. But to get recognition at this, local level, and the state all the way up, so we can go back to Congress and say, look, I think we're up to like 40 states now that have passed legislation recognizing dispatchers as first responders. And Alabama, about a year and a half after. Now, like I said, I don't want to take credit for this, but I think I believe the way I would say it is I kind of got the ball rolling. Mm-hmm. So Sunday afternoon before I left, there was a meeting in the courthouse with a state rep from Alabama and former director Tim Webb from Winston County 911, and some of the other public safety officials and the mayor. And I discussed the purpose of recognizing dispatchers as first responders and the importance of our job in the chain of response. And about a year and a half later, they passed a bill recognizing their dispatchers as first responders, and also for the first time making it that dispatchers had to have a basic certification.
Nice.
There's many states that have, there's a handful that still don't require a certification before you can actually operate behind the desk. Mm-hmm. I got mine in 1995. It's kind of like a historical piece artifact now. And, so they are one of the about 40-ish states that recognize their dispatchers as first responders, and they recognize officially the importance of our career. And I believe that went overlooked for a long time.
Wow. Yeah, it's come so far over the years from 2016 now. I mean, it's a decade. And so like my connection and everything through this, when I launched the I'm 911 movement, and imagine listening and all of that. I mean, this year, 2026, will mark 10 years, or as I'm calling it, decade of voices.
Wow, I love it.
All of these stories that have come out, and really just pushing for not just reclassification, recognition, but just how important this profession is, and the people who wear that headset, who have those stories. And I love your contribution to all of this. And what is it that you're going to be doing here in a little bit after we're done here? You're going to be going to the Hill, right?
Yes,
as
that's
you were
correct.
saying. So
the Hill, or
explain
the U.S.
that,
Capitol building.
Yeah, on the reasoning for talking to these folks. And, how receptive are they? Because, sometimes the reps are there, sometimes it's their staff. Mm-hmm. And even their staff, like I've sat in a few of those meetings, and they want to know about this stuff. They're like, give us this information. We will do our very best. We'll do what we can to start pushing it forward. And I think the continuation of over the years of talking about all of this, like you were saying, I mean, it's really done wonders.
Oh, absolutely. When I first got here, we were doing a lot of the differences between secretarial and protective service and why we believe that we qualify. And now I don't even have to get into that because they understand. Because so many other people, individuals like myself from around the country, have gone and spoken to their members, and I have been here speaking to my members, that they understand it now. And they're introducing new legislation specifically related to 911 issues. And I don't recall a time before that's really happened. Mm-hmm. And there's been a lot of movement on pieces of legislation that's in session right now. And we're really close to passing the Enhancing First Response Act, which includes the 911 Saves Act.
Yes.
So that would be a mission accomplished, but then that's just the beginning. We want to continue to improve our industry, not only for us, but for the people that we serve.
Right. Yes. Yeah, because the stuff that ends up coming after that, like the reclassification is recognition, right? But over time, that recognition also turns into extra funding, which goes into training, which goes into mental health and wellness, which maybe, and I don't know this for sure, I'm just speculating, I'm just saying this out loud, maybe it goes towards some sort of funding for better equipment or whichever. Again, all of what will not only benefit those under the headset who need it most, but also those in the community and those out in the field. So there's so much that can come from this. And I love your passion for it. Everyone who is here, what NENA is doing and other organizations. And it'd be nice if it was a little warmer, right? But
we've been spoiled. This is the worst weather.
This is true. Yeah. All the other times I've not had to wear extra coats over my suit. But
exactly.
I think maybe it's rain, a couple days, but that was nothing.
Like drizzle.
Like spring, drizzle. But now, like today, I think it's 20 something degrees outside.
Yeah, the sun's out, but it ain't warm.
Yeah, no, it is very deceptive. and maybe just a taste of things to come, because apparently it's supposed to snow overnight. But either way, I don't know, maybe it's a good thing. I just popped in my head right now, because sometimes when things just happen like that, or when things happen that people never thought was going to happen, what do they say? Like, well, hell must have froze over or something like that. Like, maybe there's it's a disguise. Maybe because it's so cold, the hell that we've gone through in the sense of just fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting.
Not feeling like we're getting anywhere.
Right.
But I believe we finally are.
Yeah, we're finally getting somewhere. Maybe it is a sign. You never know, man.
I like to think. I like the way you're thinking, and I would agree. And I'm going to jump on that wagon.
Yeah, I think this is probably and from what I've heard as well, this is the closest that we've ever been to reclassification. Congresswoman Norma Torres was here yesterday. She got an award, which was really cool. Yep. And she did a speech, which was awesome. She got a standing ovation, and she was definitely busy because she was gone.
Oh yeah, they whisked her out.
Yeah, all of them that were there, they all had stuff that was going on. But I'm sure it's also in preparation, because tonight is the
State of the Union.
State of the Union.
What phrase or word do you want to pick to play the game?
Yeah.
Watch, gotta be careful.
SOTU is what they were saying. Yeah. SOTU, S-O-T-U is, if you hear that, it's the State of the Union. So it's going to be interesting when we're over on that side later on for like the reception and all the other stuff that's going on.
I'm
to see
curious.
how busy it is. I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of security, Secret Service or whichever, just all over the place. Either way, it is going to be awesome, and I just love that we're able to come out here and do all of this and have so many people, especially in Congress and such, who are pushing for us as well.
Yes.
It's almost like an underdog story, Well, it's like
just to explain to the audience the difference that I've seen in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
We have a breakfast that that NENA and the Next Gen 911 caucus put on together in the Capitol Visitor Center.
Yeah.
And we used to have 1-2 members of Congress come in, do a short speech and then leave. We have 8 members that are on the schedule, including one from New Jersey, Robert Menendez, not my local guy, but one of the members of the delegation from New Jersey, coming in to support us and to talk to us and share some time with us. So you can see that's a huge improvement from 1 to 2 to 8.
Yeah.
And again, the speeches over time have been more poignant and more on more with spoken with a more understanding of what we actually do. Like, I think that's the best way I can say it.
Perfect. So as we go into the wrap up of this, I want to give a huge shout out as well. And you can kind of give a little information too. Call for papers are open. A couple falls ago, I got the honor and privilege to be the keynote speaker and do Imagine Listening and do the podcast for the Atlantic chapter. And their conference was phenomenal. It was also the first time I got a chance to try Moxie, which was interesting.
A local Maine tradition.
Yes. I mean, they had cases. They were giving them out. And I asked a buddy of mine who's from the area, and Bob Brown, shout out, bro, if you're listening to this. He brought me a bottle and he recorded it. and you know, it actually wasn't that bad. It kind of tasted like Robitussin.
Yeah,
but I mean, it was.
I'm glad you said that.
It was only the. You're glad that I said that. Well, I'm not.
That's what I was thinking.
From the state. So I can. But yeah. So it was only the aftertaste though, and it was just a little bit of an aftertaste.
Yeah.
And I've had it cold. And I actually enjoyed it afterwards. So
nice.
I was like, all right. I was like, yeah, this isn't that bad. But like everyone said, it's an acquired taste. It's, you know, it's
locals.
a local thing.
I'm sure there's
People
things
grow
here
up
that
with it.
back at home in Jersey that I would swear by, and people from outside would be like, ew.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe not quite my thing.
Yeah. So
would be a better way.
When does that start?
Okay, so September 27th through the 30th.
Okay.
And first time in a while, the Atlanta Chapter Conference will be in Parsippany, New Jersey. New Jersey is going to play host, and I'm the chair for the conference committee, putting it together and organizing it.
Bro.
And that's been a lot of
pressure.
fun. Yeah. I'm working on day number 2, a powerful session, a 25th anniversary 9/11 discussion panel.
Oh, wow.
I have current and either retired or they've moved to the private sector now after 25 years, but they were working in one of the comm centers that was affected. So I'll have people from New York City. One is a New York City fire operator that was working that day. He was featured on a National Geographic documentary about the day. James Rafferty. And, you know, you retire, like 4 a.m, your last free call, 4 a.m., your last call, your last transmission.
Yeah.
This gentleman worked a 15-story high-rise project building with 45, 1045s with 17 fatalities. And then he signed off and all the fire companies chimed in, wishing him a happy retirement.
Wow.
Yeah, could you imagine that being your last day?
Oh,
so he's got a really
Lord.
good story to share.
Yeah.
We have a former dispatcher, now private sector from Arlington County, who is working the Pentagon situation. And I have some people lined up from Somerset County, Pennsylvania, which handled the Shanksville, the Flight 93 situation.
So I might have to go again to be there for the panel and maybe have these folks on the podcast. It'd be awesome to capture their story as well.
Absolutely.
Nice. Well, make sure to check it out, sign up, and I'm sure information will be going out on social media for that chapter as well.
Correct.
And as we close this off, because I know that you have to leave here soon and everything as well, for anyone who is listening right now that is in our profession, who has been on the fence, or just simply thinking about or more curious about this conference specifically, what would you tell those folks for them to come and experience 911 Goes to Washington?
I encourage you to do it. It can be a little overwhelming and intimidating, but they're the government for the people, by the people. They are part of the people. They are people. So you can approach them, you can speak with them. They're eager to learn from us because we're the ones in the trenches and they want to hear those stories.
Yeah.
And so that way they understand, like, this bill in my mind, I think it'll be great. But what you're telling me is it could actually end up messing things completely up and making a problem worse than better. And I don't want to do that. So, can you please explain? And then you give them some stories, some experiences, things that are happening at your level, and then they'll incorporate that into the bill or draft the bill in a way that it makes an improvement, which is what they want to do. They want to make our lives better. They want to make the system better. And so having that information, they'll be able to draft their bills and accordingly. And we can play a large part in that. And you can come to Washington and play a role in that process.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, my friend. As always, this has been a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and let you go because I know that you got stuff that you have to do.
Yeah, my phone just went off.
I know, I just heard it right now. But for those who are listening and everything, if you have any comments, questions, you ever want to be a guest on the show, simply go to links, and that's links.co/IM911. This episode is sponsored by Rapid SOS and Safer Together, the leading AI company in public safety. And shout out to subscribers. You can see this on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, as well as YouTube. And you can listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone. And we will see you all in the next one. Imagine listening to someone's worst day every single day. Imagine listening as someone experiences life through their worst nightmare to the miracle of birth or a life saved. I'm Ricardo Martinez, a former 911 dispatcher, and for years, I've been recording the voices of a hidden world, ours. I've provided a space for 911 dispatchers to share their powerful stories. It started as a peer support session and continues. Dispatchers sitting together, sharing out loud, or writing down what they couldn't say. Some stories will grip you. Stories of heartbreak, resilience, and calls that haunt us long after the line goes quiet. But imagine listening is more than heavy emotion. It's about healing. It's about laughing through the chaos, lifting each other up, and reminding the world that dispatchers are human too. The lighthearted will balance the heavy. Experience the power of storytelling, a podcast for the thin gold line and those who want to understand it. This is Imagine Listening. Your worst day is our everyday. Subscribe now wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.